All right, boys, we are live. Hola, mi gente. We are live. I got Mark, I got Dave. Excuse Mark today. He's feeling a little under the weather. He's got the London blues.
Jet lag has caught up with me. I'm not gonna lie.
That's all good. I got the coaching football too late at night blues, and then Dave actually looks good today.
Thank you.
He looks fresh.
He
Fresh
does
and
look
Ready to go.
in
Ready to
his
go.
salmon pink vest. I like it.
I got some sleep.
Oh man, bless you, dude. Is he sleeveless right now? Is that what I see? The guy hasn't breathed in 30 seconds. He's been flexing the whole time. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the gut, some different aspects of the gut. What is it good for? What does it do? Some different supplements and stuff like that. So first thing I want to talk about with the gut is our gut basically does a lot of things, more than what people actually imagine. Our immunity comes from our gut, majority of it. We obviously all know that metabolism is in our gut. And then serotonin comes majority from our gut too, which is extremely important and beneficial. And the reality is we have a microbiome that's pretty much our bacteria within our gut. And there's hundreds of trillions and billions and bazillions of cells that are in our body that all aid to either productive digestion or a thing called dysbiosis, where you actually have more bad bugs than good bugs, which is not good. So understanding that is there's certain foods that really help and aid our digestion, which help our immunity, which can, help us actually feel better. And a quick little tidbit on that is if you eat crap food, you feel like crap. Am I right or am I wrong? It just, there's no other way around it. If you eat some good foods I think of like kimchi. Greek yogurt's really good. It has some really good probiotics in it. Sauerkraut, onions, not cooked onions, because cooked onions will actually caramelize and turn into a sugar. So another one, chicken bone broth is a really good one. I don't know if you guys have been hearing a lot about that.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys know.
It's kind of the new thing at the moment. It seems to be.
Yeah, it's big. Some bad ones we'll talk about. Dairy's a bad one. Fried foods, gluten, and sugar. See, bad foods like that, they feed the bad bacteria. And if you get too much bad compared to good, then you get just a ton of disruption in the gut. So, Dave, why don't you tell us some good ways and maybe some good products that we could use besides food, which we should be using a lot of food, but some products that will actually help us repair our gut in a sense.
Sure. Yeah. A little bit of background on me too. The way I came really big into overall gut health as well is I've had a few autoimmune conditions myself that I've kind of actually healed. One of those was shingles. Well, I had that already and I think a lot of that was just my body being extremely stressed out in a really bad state from probably some bodybuilding as well. And just, again, a lot of what we're doing environmentally and, we're taking in and just strenuous activities are going to really hamper our gut health. The second thing I've had is alopecia. I had some spots that I started losing my hair and my beard. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Not my beard, man. Not my power.
And it was very weird. And I think a lot of it was from stress. My foods were, I was eating a lot of the same things. I really don't know the number one reason, but ultimately, I kind of just want to give you guys a background on that. So I've gotten really, really into the gut health stuff. Now, I do have some notes here, and I'm going to be going through this somewhat quick. But I had 3 products that I'm going to lay out that I'm a firm believer in, and I want to go through those with you guys. So the first thing is just a digestive enzyme. Digestive enzymes you can take, just make sure you're getting a good brand. And we've talked about it in the last one of the last talks, but things like ox bile, helping you digest your fats, making sure you have a really complex array of enzymes. So like lactase, cellulase, HCl. Don't take HCl if you have stomach ulcers, but something like this is one of the go-tos that I start with people just to get them starting to make more stomach acid and digesting their food better and feeling better like helping people assimilate their food and digest their food and absorb their food. Because again, like you guys, I think I've said in the last one of the last talks, it's not really about what we're digesting; it's about what we're absorbing, right?
Definitely.
So that would be one of my top go-tos, probably to start with, just a good digestive enzyme from a really reputable company. Second thing is a product called Gut Right. It actually just came out from ATP Science, and legit, this is like, it's been a kind of a cutting edge supplement, but this is basically what's termed a modbiotic. And a modbiotic is kind of the cross between an antibiotic and a probiotic. Modbiotic is going to, like Tony was saying, with dysbiosis, you kind of have this imbalance of good and bad bacteria. What a modbiotic is, it's all these really healthy polyphenols, which are like fruit extracts, all these really healthy things from organic food, just put into a powder form. What this is going to do is going to go in, it's going to kill a lot of those bad bacteria and change the ratio of good to bad bacteria. Now, I can't tell you what this product's going to do to you in particular. Like, it's going to be different for everyone because everyone is at a different point with their digestion, with their gut health, right? So this is probably one of the top things as well, along with the digestive enzyme. These two together are probably some of the top things that I would go to. The last thing that I would go to is Restore. Now, Restore is a relatively new product. Now, there's a guy by the name of Zach Bush, and if you have the chance, have you guys heard of this product?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a guy by the name of Zach Bush who used to be a doctor, and ultimately he kind of got out of the medical industry because he realized that he was actually making his clients more sick, and with the common treatments, right? So people have to understand that, like, I'm going to read off a couple of notes here, that the gut is like, it stretches across 2 tennis courts, right? So you got to realize that the gut is like, if you have leaky gut, it's like comparing a Lululemon pants to, fishnet stockings, right? So you can't have a healthy gut if you have all these holes in your fishnet stockings, right? So Zach Bush came out with this product, which is kind of like dirt water, more or less. It looks like dirt water. But what this product does, it protects you in your gut from a lot of the stuff that is in the environment today. Okay, like you have this Roundup from Monsanto, which glyphosate, right? So glyphosate attaches to gluten, and that makes gluten 10 times more potent in our gut. So you got to understand that this stuff is breaking down our gut. It's not just one instance, but it's like the constant bombardment over and over and over again. And all it takes is a very, very small amount of gluten to get into your system, and it causes an inflammatory response from 1 month to 9 months. Okay, so what this does, it protects your gut from these harmful things, and it's super easy to take. It's liquid, and it's amazing. I can't really say enough about it because ultimately, it's really just all about like protection. Because if that barrier is broken, your immune system's right behind your gut, and if that starts firing up, then all hell breaks loose, right? So I could go on and on about more like cool stats like autism.
Dave, I got a quick question for you.
Go ahead, yeah.
Do you feel a difference when taking the product? Because ideally, most people are going to want to feel something or know that it's working. So is there a feeling when you have leaky gut as opposed to not, or?
Yeah, basically you don't shit your pants.
well, if you have some Taco Bell, you might do the same. So,
No.
Yeah, if you're eating well, here's the thing too. Like, people are eating well, and like people will get full and things off of and they'll feel bloated off of eating things like kale, right? Well, the reason is that's insoluble fiber, and like those things are getting through to the blood and the immune system, right? So sometimes people just don't digest healthy things as well. I find by taking Restore, it's just helping seal that barrier. I mean, some people have noticed, like if you read the reviews on this stuff, some people have noticed a huge difference in terms of they're sleeping better. Well, yeah, that's going to happen because, I mean, if your gut is not disrupted, like everything is connected, right? Like vagus nerve, all that stuff goes into your head, all that. So ultimately, I know people want to feel like, oh yeah, I want to feel like amazing. It's like a pre-workout, right? I want to feel the difference. Um, I'd say 7 out of 10 people that I've put this on, I mean, they feel a major difference in terms of like just their overall like stomach being calmer and more like gentle. Because like a lot of people have just like bloating. Bloating is
Yeah.
probably the most biggest
Yeah.
issue for a lot of people.
No.
Mark,
Yeah.
Mark,
No.
and I know you're going to go off. I just wanted one quick statistic for people to understand, and then Mark, the floor is yours. Everyone, you guys need to understand that the gut communicates with the brain at a 90% rate. The brain only at 10% communicates with the gut. So majority of what happens to our gut is communicating with our brain, and it results into our feelings. So just be
Yeah.
aware of that. What we eat is evidently is going to be how we feel. So Mark, go ahead. I know you got some things you want to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of just on the topic that you're asking there, Tony, about, does it make you feel better? I think at the end of the day, if you're less bloated and, you're having, and this is a fairly disgusting thing to say, but more solid stool, you're going to feel a lot better. So I think they're the noticeable changes. And I have issues with my gut health at times, particularly traveling a lot. I've had it this
Yeah.
week. Being on a 24-hour flight from Sydney back to here, you're surrounded by people's bacteria that you're not used to. You're in a different environment, going to another country. If you go to, say, exotic countries where you've got a completely different water supply, food supply, that's another thing we can maybe talk about. Introducing
Yeah.
certain things like those products Dave's talking about can massively help. If you're going to somewhere like that on business and you need to be switched on for a short period of time, you need to make sure you're healthy. But I think the one thing that most of our clients are training for is to look better, right? We'd all agree that. And I think the one thing, in my opinion, your gut health is directly correlated to your abdominal fat. So
For
it's
sure.
directly above it, right? So if you improve your gut health, your abs will get leaner. I've never really not seen that happen. Sure, you'll get some people that are just naturally have shredded abs year round. Personally, that when my gut health is not functioning well, my body fat around my midsection or around the umbilical region always increases. So I think for all my clients, whenever their diet's improved, their gut health's improved, that can be a massive difference. And like you said, Tony, the serotonin side of it, depression is of huge, massively on the increase in the UK, particularly at the moment. That is going to make a massive difference as well. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So on the same
Yeah.
topic, sorry, Dave, what were you going to say?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Go ahead. I'll add
Yeah,
in
I think
like,
a lot of people, they might be bloated, but also people don't maybe understand why that is or other ways to test if they have a gut problem. So 2 nice little tests that you can do to see if there is a bit of an issue going on. It's basically testing for something called dysbiosis. So nice simple way to remember, dysbiosis is the wrong ratio of bacteria in your gut, and symbiosis means everything's great. So if you wake up in the morning and you stick your tongue out and you have a big white furry coating on it, that probably is a big indication that you have dysbiosis going on in your gut. So that's a very simple test that anybody can do if you wake up every single morning. Also, if you take on a large amount of carbohydrates in one sitting, whatever it is, let's say it's pasta or some potato or whatever it is, and you get very, very gassy, farty straight after it, it's probably a big indication that you have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So, they're just nice indications of something that's going on. And the reason that I said those is because I was actually having a conversation with a friend last night who was having a conversation with a friend of hers that she's been feeling gassy of late. And then so I think she saw this product online that was like a liquid probiotic. And so she's been taking that for the past week. And there's lots of different types. And I don't think it's particularly a great product. But the issue is if a lot of people will just throw a probiotic at a gut problem. And that a lot of the times can make the situation a whole host worse. So you can research this online, or we'll post some links. A very simple way to remember it is you have what's called the 5R gut protocol. So the 5R is you want to remove the things that are causing an issue. So Tony touched on it at first. If you have a problem with gluten or you have a problem with dairy, which I do, I have a problem with dairy, and you constantly eat it all the time, you're never going to improve your gut health. So you have to take out the things that are causing the initial issue. You then need to replace it with, particularly the first thing that Dave said, digestive enzymes. Probably your biggest bang for your buck digestive health aid in terms of you're going to absorb everything better, you're going to break down fats, you're going to break down protein, you're going to break down carbs. Utilize those things that you're eating. And from there, you want to then re-inoculate. So you're then going to maybe add in the probiotic, or you're going to, like what Tony said, you're going to introduce fermented foods like sauerkraut, whatever it may be. Repair, which again, those products will probably be very good for. They have things like glutamine in. So the nice way to remember glutamine, it fills in those little holes that Dave's been talking about. So you'll have some people get little microscopic punctures or holes in their intestinal wall. That's not usually an issue. The ones that get the big sort of open holes, basically your food is passing through into your bloodstream, and then that's when you get evacuation going on. And then lastly, you then, obviously, once the whole thing is functioning better, you then want to be able to reintroduce or have real life, as we call it. So bringing the foods back in, your cheat meals or whatever you want to call them. So you always want to try and have some basic strategy with fixing your gut. It's not just throw a probiotic at it or throw this at it. It's trying to look at it as a whole of what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Mark, I couldn't agree with you more. And to say that probiotics are really good for you too.
Phenomenal for you, but again, it's just the timing, isn't it? It's like if you have too much of one probiotic already, and then you throw one that only has maybe 1 or 2 probiotics in it, it's going to make, and we talked about this with the B vitamins, it's going to give you such a high ratio of one and potentially mess up the other. So I like with the probiotic for it to have a nice wide range of
for sure,
bacteria within there, ideally.
Yeah, absolutely. There's right now we know of 500 different strains of bacteria that's beneficial in the gut. So, just like you were saying, having a wide variety and switching them up, because each different strain does something different in your gut. So keeping those mixed up and to truly find out what's needed or what you're lacking or what's more beneficial, you have to get stool testing. Yeah. But in that case, just keep switching it up and keep mixing it up, because there will be some benefit. But like Mark was saying, unless you actually change with those 5 R's, a probiotic's not going to be your end-all, be-all. Even a digestive is not. They're beneficial, but lifestyles have to change as well. Yeah, so that's what's really going to make the difference.
Yeah, sure. I'm a big fan of adding in the probiotics, like especially if somebody has been hitting, along with what you're saying, along with if somebody's been hitting like antibiotics hard or that stuff or chemotherapy or whatever, 1 to 2 weeks of really, really high dose like probiotics. And honestly, I've started to really just encourage, the lifestyle factors are huge, like just getting outside more, playing, actually, like if you like just playing with your dog because of the amount of bacteria and things like that, like little things that people don't understand, like that traveling is really good for like just exposing your gut to more stuff, right? Yeah. So those are huge points.
No, definitely. I think that's the dog thing's a really good point, because obviously I just had a little baby, and the more you expose your child to different types of bacteria, the more diverse the microbiome is. And I think in nowadays age, they want to clean everything. They don't want the children to play outside in dirt. Right. I'm not saying you want to go outside and rub your face in dirt, but people need to be exposed to that. You sharing the same bathroom and having a pet or working on a farm, you're exposed to so many different types of bacteria. Well, if you're only exposed to maybe your parents in one house, I think that those are the kids that tend to get sick a lot more often.
Yeah,
for sure.
Go ahead.
Just like you were just saying, all drugs disrupt and destroy the gut at some form or level. So knowing how to combat that too, and if you have a healthy gut and you're going into, say, like an antibiotic or something, the disruption is minimum and you'll be able to respond. But if you have a disrupted gut and you're taking an antibiotic, or women who take contraceptive pills every day, there's going to be a level of inflammation that's responding to that, and you have to combat that as well. And I usually use CoQ10 as a primary response to helping deflate some of that inflammation. So.
Yeah, no, CoQ10 is probably my favorite supplement to give people who are doing long haul flights. So when you're flying, you want ideally at least 100 milligrams per hour that you're in the air. So if you're doing a 20-hour flight, you'd want 2 grams, which is a lot. But again, it will help counteract most things, like the radiation side of it. So it's a very good supplement to take.
Oh yeah, I love CoQ10.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Always.
Well, good. I think I think that's some good information on the gut. Pretty much gives people a good idea, and we can go on further. So if anybody has any more questions about what would be beneficial or not, or different foods and stuff, because there's a lot of foods that cause inflammation. One thing I meant to say that we were talking about earlier, chewing. Chewing is probably the most important thing, and I know you guys have probably heard it, and not you guys, but I'm saying in general. But if you don't chew your food in relevance to like leaky gut and different things, you cause more stress on the gut because now you have to break down bigger boluses, and your body shouldn't have to work as hard. So chew your food. You guys got anything
Agreed.
else you want to add besides chewing the food?
I think what, because we have been talking a little bit about supplements. I think one thing that is very beneficial to use, that is probably the cheapest thing you'll ever buy, is to add apple cider vinegar in.
Oh, there you go. Good call.
What is it?
Apple cider vinegar.
Oh, got it.
Because so apple cider vinegar, you guys who are listening to this may have heard of it. It's basically, what it does is it helps break down. If you have about 1 to 2 teaspoons mixed in some water, you don't want to take it neat, otherwise it can damage the enamel on your teeth or burn your esophagus. It will help your body prep to break down proteins, so it'll raise your hydrochloric acid levels, and it also lowers the glycemic index or the glycemic load of the food. And a big bottle of it is maybe $5 or £2 over here, and you want the one that has the mother in, so it'll almost look like cloudy cider, if that makes sense. It has almost like fermented bits in it, so to speak. That's probably one of the cheapest things you can do to improve your digestion to add in.
Yeah, we could go to more protocols too at another talk as far as, different supplements. But I think, man, we covered exactly what they need as far as, helping out their gut. So on that, Dave, you got anything else?
One last thing. Yeah.
What you got?
Hippocrates. All disease begins in the gut.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, man.
Oh, man, just when we joke around, it just got deep,
Oh, it just got serious.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that talk. If you have any questions, please leave us some stuff. If there's anything else, we're going to do one more series, and we're probably going to go into performance supplements. Yeah, Mark?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Cool, because I know there's some people that want to hear about creatine and different things like that. And, I want to get into talk about, different types of protein, kind of going a little bit more in depth than what we talked about originally a few weeks ago. Yeah. But other than that, stand by. We'll talk on Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern time, 6 p.m. if you're over in Europe or London. I'm working on my accent. Okay, give me some slack. I mean, you don't have to laugh at me. But other than that, man, if you guys got anything else, no, come on. Just because you're wearing cut-off sleeves right now doesn't have to break
that Lulu.
Yeah, that's all good, gents. I think we covered some good stuff then. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
All right, cool. Other than that, see you later.
Later,
guys.